Hey everyone, Alex Terrace here, sauna expert, photobiomodulation expert in many different modalities. So we're reviewing today a fairly well-known brand. It's been around quite some time of infrared portable sauna. So if you don't know, I am a dealer for many different brands of infrared saunas, all kinds of different infrared equipment. And I'm hoping in this review to just kind of validate some of the points that are brought up by this brand in comparison to other types of portable saunas. It is very confusing if you're first kind of looking into information on the internet, trying to make sense of what's true, what's not. And that's what I do. So you can reach out to me here on the page, live chat anytime, leave a message, try to reach me. I'm usually available and be happy to get back to you with guidance. I also do discounts on this brand above and beyond what others do. So let's get into it. The real issue and concern with most portable saunas, and honestly, some traditional cabin style saunas as well, because a lot of the traditional cabins, they have plywood in them and other types of materials that off gas, is you also run into the same thing with portable saunas. Most portables use ingredients, not ingredients, materials that actually, when you heat them up and you cool them down, you heat them up, you cool them down, you can start to damage the molecular bonds. And the material is not basically built for heat, especially infrared. And so these materials can break down and start to release harmful gases or off-gassing into your environment. So you have to pay close attention to what is the material being used by a portable sauna. When you get to these tent style saunas, right, that you see over here on the right, and your head sticks out of the top. The tents, most of them are very cheap from overseas. They use cheap material. There's a lot of downsides to them. But one thing, again, let's focus first on the material. So again, you got to watch out for the materials being used. This company does use a completely non-toxic material. And the other thing too is the reflectivity. So this style of portable sauna, they actually have embedded silver woven into the fabric. So the reason why the inside of their sauna reflects infrared so much is because of the addition of that silver, which of course is much more expensive, right, to make that material. So this is at the upper end of the price point, around $1,200 or so. But part of the reason is kind of what I'm about to explain to you. First, the material, the fabric, is a non-toxic, heat resistant, and then it's impregnated with the silver, so it has maximum reflection. Now these heaters sit at the bottom right there, okay? And so it's now sending infrared rays and it's bouncing all throughout the sauna and absorbing into your body at every conceivable angle because of how it's reflecting. So other saunas, they generally, with portable tents, they hang carbon emitters on the wall, flat panel carbon emitters. So you're getting much less infrared rays essentially from just certain areas or parts of your body. So like, for example, if you had a carbon emitter, let's say in a different tent style brand on this back wall here, see that? Then see this fabric part of the chair? Basically, normally you just get a couple panels in and some of it is obstructed. And you just basically get top sides of your legs. You get more angles by reflecting infrared rays from around here. If you really want to increase the infrared right where this blocks your back, you see that material right there. You could certainly just take that fabric off the chair, right? Or you could use a stool. That's what I've done before in the past, just to maximize the amount of infrared rays that are reflected onto my back. But generally speaking, all the other tent saunas are completely different in terms of their heating elements. Different but identical from the standpoint that they're using carbon panel elements that are, again, are on the walls, okay? And this is actually using these very high watt ceramic heaters, okay, that are reflecting off of the unique silver fabric on the inside, hitting your rays from multiple angles. Now let's get back into these. They're around 1,500 watts. It's a huge amount of power to produce a lot of infrared for a very small space, okay? Huge amount for a very small space. Now, when they talk about these emitters here being tuned and they have a little patent on that, as well as third-party tests you can look up. All very legitimate. Basically, it's not completely novel or unique. There is one other company on the market that sells full-size cabin saunas, and they also use a similar microchip to tune their ceramic emitters in their saunas, their cabin saunas. If you're curious about a full cabin sauna that does a similar technology, just reach out to me and I'll direct you to that. I sell that brand as well. As far as in the portables, that sort of technology to control the wavelength or distribution is totally unique again to this company, Relax Saunas. It's absolutely legitimate. You do use a microchip, and essentially all that is it is monitoring on the different ceramic chips. The ceramic is the heating element, by the way. So it's monitoring how much power, okay, is going across the ceramic heating element, and it keeps on modulating the power flux of that so that it can, because there's a correlation, if you don't know, between the surface, how hot the surface of something gets, or like a mineral, like say ceramic, a material, and the wavelength range that it produces. Okay, and when we talk about that, we're talking about near, mid, and far, and we can also measure that by micron range. Okay, so the way you can control that, one way is you control the power that flows to that type of heating element, which is what they're doing here. So they're constantly monitoring it. It's a microchip with software that does that, okay, in here and then connected to this. So that is why they're talking about how they're tuning the infrared range to yield a much larger percentage of the far spectrum. Okay, absolutely legitimate. You can look up the patents. And again, there is actually a couple other actual full-size saunas that do something similar. But anyways, so now when we get into like what is maybe a range that can most efficiently warm up your body in terms of absorption and tissue, we get into like different layers of the dermis here. And it is absolutely true. There's actually 3,000 studies at this point with photobiomodulation therapy using lasers, LEDs, things like that. We know exactly between all the different types of tissue types, water molecules, you name it, fat, how light behaves in terms of wavelengths and what is able to excite or vibrate water molecules. Or other tissue types, I should say, other cell types, depending on the wavelength, okay? There's tons of research on that. So again, their claims about like certain range of infrared heating up parts of those tissues more than other ranges is absolutely true. We know about refractance and reflection and absorption. And here's, for example, a study right here looking at more the far longer wave range versus like near infrared, near mid sort of heat lamps like this guy right here. And there's obviously a few companies that have a tent type of setup with near infrared bulbs, heat lamps. I'm not such a fan of that. And you can read this study, for example. They do work, but I do have some concerns. And also they're just not as efficient, or in my opinion, as quite as therapeutic as working with the other range, the upper range of mid and more into the far. So it is true, their claims here, this company, about the, having 4 to 6 or whatever it is times more of the longer far range because they are controlling it with this device. All that is true. Now, can that lead to raising your core body temperature more efficiently? Absolutely. Although I will say that I think that part of the reason they're able to do this, for example, like what they say here, this doctor says at his cancer clinic, and I've run this test, by the way, too, with several people monitoring their core body temperature and being able to raise it significantly in an hour. I think, honestly, it has probably, in this case, more to do with the fact that these heaters are super high wattage, very efficient, and it's bouncing rays from every angle on the body. It is just such a powerful setup that I think that's a good percentage of why they can raise the core body temperature so significantly. I mean, that's like out of this world, by the way, in terms of how high and how fast it can do that. The other setup that can do that in terms of portables is on this website. You'll see the dome style, and specifically that One Love Health brand. which gets the internal temp and maximum amount of infrared on the body at 360 degrees. So the laydown, there's actually a couple laydowns that can do very similar with how efficiently it raises your core body temperature. When we talk about at least some of the benefits, well, and I'm not really explaining that right. When we talk about directly and indirectly, a lot of the benefits that you get from infrared therapy, infrared saunas, hyperthermia therapy, it is absolutely correlated to how high you can get your core body temperature, okay, and how long you hold it over a period of time. Now, you don't have to get it to this and hold for like a full hour. That's pretty intense. They're using that, for example, at some clinics for dealing with cancers and other sorts of pathogens and stuff like that. You don't have to, you certainly don't have to do it like that. I mean, you can do it for like 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes and get great benefits. But it is nice to know that actually there is some unique benefits you can get when you work the body more intensely like that. So absolutely, when you get in the sauna and you've tried other tense style saunas, this thing really does get pretty warm very fast. Within like 5-10 minutes, it's impressively warm in there. By far, it is the most efficient. So if you're also a busy person, there are definitely a lot of tents out there that take a while to heat up. You'll be sitting in there 20-30 minutes, no joke. And it's like, yeah, you know, it's kind of getting warm now. It can take quite some time. You don't have to preheat it. I would say, especially if the room is kind of cool that you're in with your tent style sauna, they generally take a while to preheat, just like a traditional sauna, full cabin style sauna. This one you can literally just like pop in there, zip it up, and toast yourself very, very quickly. So that is a nice aspect. I do think it's worth paying more for that instead of waiting around. I'm a busy person, so I like the fact that it is just super efficient. That laydown one as well, by that other brand, is also very efficient. Now, this company also does a laydown also. Their laydown is, let me see if I can just show it to you really quickly here. Yeah, they do a laydown as well. The laydown is this, you see this right here, it's like fabric-y. If you were like constantly packing this thing up all the time on the go, if that's what you want to do with your sauna, this might be nice to just use this one because it's easy and quick to pack up. Otherwise, I'm actually more of a fan of, if it's a laydown one, the other brand, because it has a real infrared mat beneath you. This one's more like a reflective material. Don't get me wrong, this thing also is very intense also because of, again, we talked about the high wattage heaters and the reflective material inside. They're different, you know, it honestly, in terms of intensity, they're very spot on to one another. So I'm just going to let you guys feel it out between the laydown styles. But the purpose more of this video, and you're welcome to ask me questions about this again, is to discuss these couple. And when you see this brand here, or this model, I should say, because there's two models, you don't really need to spend significantly more going with this one here. The only exception is if you're going to be like using this for commercial purposes and also using it in a room that's on the cool side more often. There is a slight improvement in efficiency of heating this one up here, and it is a little bit more durable, but for 95% of people, this will be sufficient in this brand right here, okay, or this model. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this one. I do think it is one of the best tent ones on the market for sure. Very intense, very efficient. Their claims about their infrared range is all correct, and is backed up as well if you request that data, although they do have it right on the website. So I do think it's worth paying a little bit more. Now, I do have a coupon. You can see there with my link in my coupon code. You're welcome to use that. If you are looking for even a better price point than that coupon, you're going to have to contact me directly and we will put the order in differently. Okay. Otherwise, if you just want to get it over with and just roll into it, you can just use that link and use the coupon code. And again, if you have specific questions and you want me to compare this or using this type of style versus another specific brand of sauna or whatever it is. And I am always available to do those comparisons. You can reach me right on the live chat button there, or send me an email, whatever is most convenient for you. You can also give me a direct call as well. And I always respond within 24 hours. Thanks for watching.